Welcome back to a freaking brand new Wolf Waters episode. And this freaking great pool house renovation. We've got the Filipino music going and the boys are actually smashing out some of the paper. Oh my gosh, it's a bit of a rush. I was away this morning and they've absolutely smashed it. So the way we're setting up this building paper or the building wrap is we start at the bottom, get our 50mm layer over the top. Then we go right down to the very end down there, get our lap proper. And then what we got to do, so now we're going to come back, you can see we actually have to tighten this up. So a little bit difficult on a big wall when it's windy. So we just pull the staples out like this with the chisel, so we're not going to put too many rips and stuff in the paper. It's not too bad up the top here because we're going to be putting our soffit framing in. But before we do that, we need the paper up past the soffit line. So. Oh, that's a great shot. That's a great shot. Sweet.
Hit our top.
Now, yeah, you can probably hit the top. Yeah, well, top, you do the top first and then pull the bottom down so it's nice and tight. So, well, what our goal here is to try and get the paper as nice and tight as possible. Okay, anyway, doesn't matter. Welcome to the frickin' episode. Yeah, you got it, eh? Just pull it up slightly tighter if you can. I'm back. After helping the partner out, she did a little bit of a whoopsie today, so that's all sorted now, which is really good. No one got harmed in the making of that film. The boys have gone through and started papering out. We've got this Thermocraft Watergate Paper Plus, and they've just wrapped it around all our beams and everything like that so we can get ready for our soffit. So got to do our paper, then we do our soffits, or framing for soffits, our soffit framing, then our soffits, then we can start putting our cavity and stuff on. So that's our mission now. I've got this little ripping right here. We're going to be having level soffits through here. And we've got a little ripping that I'm going to stick on my rafter tails because my fascia is sitting down so low. Now I could easily just put a ribbon plate or a ribbon plate on here to support the edge of my soffit and then put some nogs off the edge of that. But what I'm going to do is I'm also going to put one right here as well, just so everything's all nice and plumb. It's going to give us a nice easy line to work to. So I've got a ripping that's going to go on the end of my rafter tails here, and we just use this to check that all of them are at the right height. This one in particular was a little low, so just had to check it out slightly, which Mikey's done. And then we can actually go through and whack this ripping on all the way along through there. And then we can level off, put our ribbon plate or soffit framing on here, and then we can nog in between. So we've got ready to rock and roll for our framing. All right, got a couple of nails there that we're gonna have to take out. And we've come to that stage where we're gonna need to trim out the, we have to trim this out, look. So this is that nog that I put in on the last episode. We now need to trim it out, which is easy peasy. Well, not easy peasy, but we got a little mark down there. Use a bit of offcut of 4x2, square it up. And do I just use a sabre or do I try and get my skilly in there? Bro, did that feel funny?
Oh, bro!
All right, we're in. So what I've done is I've just leveled across from here over to here, and then I've got a chalk line that's run all the way along. I had to rip this down to a specific length so it sits beneath my rafter tail here, which was like 68mm. Stop that gun, that stink one. Yep. Good job.
I swear, little baby.
Woo-hoo-hoo-wee. Made it back. Look at this. The boys have smoked out half the roof already. Well, a third, because they haven't quite done our tie into the existing yet, but pretty neat. They run a string line from end to end, 60 mils out off the fascia board, and then that's what they use to keep the sheets nice and straight all the way through. And then you can also see this drip edge that sits underneath the tin, underneath the iron, and then also underneath the paper, as you can see over there, and that just prevents any additional water that will try and track back up into there. So also hides the paper fluttering out the bottom of the fascia as well, so it's pretty neat. Nice tidy setup, but we're going to start whacking into some feet.
All good?
Yeah.
Lord. What are you talking about? I'm in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, come down to me.
Coming.
Oh,
Huh?
drop it down a touch. Yeah. That's it. Hold on, I'll just get I think we're fully hard in, eh? It looks really good. I'm good. Righty team, our mission right now is to finish off our soffit lining through here, but we've got this real weird area right now that we've got to try and make watertight, which is this spot right here. It's a little bit hard to get my head around, but our soffit lining is going to come flush with our gable end truss like this, I think. So we've got to work from that, and then we also got to almost create some sort of watertight system in here, which is going to be very hard because there's nowhere for our flashing systems to go, but we'll make it happen. So I think the first thing I want to do is I'm going to cut back my soffit ribbon plate so it's flush with my PFC that's been bolted through by 200 post, and then the boys have cut the paper off on the end, which is no good. We want to try and wrap that around, so we'll get those things tidied up right now and just go from there. For the soffit lining, I guess, eh? Or should I get this piece of timber first? So we're still gonna need those battens, 170 by 33. Measurement now, I guess. So I think what we're gonna have to do is gonna frame this section out so it's flat, which means we'll just get a big piece of timber that will cut to the shape of this area. It's gonna be 575. So I had to pull a couple of nails out of there in order for me to get the correct lap for my paper. You can see that our soffit lining is going to finish flush here, and then we're going to have this open area right here. So we need to figure out what we're going to do. I think I'm going to put another bit of soffit lining that comes down and acts as a bit of cladding almost that sits right here. It'll be flush with the bottom of the fascia that runs straight across. That way that one can butt into it and it sort of shapes this area through here. The only thing with that is if I'm putting something on here like this, there's a weak spot right here. So what we need to do is we almost need to put a back flashing in that tucks in behind this bracket and then in behind the feet lining, so when we go to put it on, there's a backstop. For my hardies, it's going to sit on the front face here, and it's also going to give fixing for my soffit lining along this point. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I can now just bang that on. So yeah, I reckon I want to try and get this PVC flashing tucked behind the bracket. And that way, if the water does get through, there's a way for it to run out. I'll get that easy for you now, eh? Sucker. 12.58. Just bang this, I'll just tap this. Go 12.57 plus 4 is 12.61. And overall is going to be 100, yeah. And then this part here I got 575, and then 42 probably. There it is. By my bracket. If I can get that top in a bit. overhangs the soffit slightly, just like that. So when the soffit wraps around and then this still drops down. And then how do I do this next part? All right, so the next stage is now that we've sort of got this top point waterproofed and then we know that our soffit and our hardies is gonna sit here like this, create that nice watertight situation through here. The next phase is down here, which is our beam is clad in a direct fix 6mm hardy sheet that wraps around and into here. I don't really like the direct fix detail, especially on this end point. I think it'd be fine along the face over here, but on the end, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw a cavity on it just to push everything out away from the steel and this area here and just allow airflow if anything does get through there. So I will put a cavity on. Once I put this cavity on like this, thinking about water tightness now as well. So I put the cavity on and then I put my cavity on and put my corner on like this to protect that corner. I still have a weak point where the water can just get straight through in behind the cavity and into this section right here. So what I'm thinking of doing, I don't know if this has been done before in timber, but I'm gonna put the cavity on and I'm gonna do a little chase flashing in here so my dyno flash can sit in, and then I'll just seal this into the timber. Don't know if that's the best thing to do, but then when I wrap my 6mm hardies around, I'll leave a 5mm gap here and then I'll seal that so it's sort of like a construction joint as well. So we've got that 2-layer of protection. Oh my gosh, the camera was off, but I was just trying to use this little 3mm drill bit to clear my chase out like this, and it got caught up in the frickin' paper I just stuck in it around there. Bro, I think I might just use some tape, flashing tape. Stuff you. I wonder if I try and like bend it around like onto the timber a bit. That's another layer. Actually, I'm glad that happened because I'm way happier with having this tape on here like this. I don't have any clouts on me, but that's okay.
Yeah, bro, having a bidet.
Okay, you good?
What?
I'm good there. Sucker.
Into the wishing for a change. Well, wish a day a swell life for the next come. And when the next come, pretend that it's the best one. Like I ain't even gonna try and say that to the next one.
Woo! There we go. That's as good as we're gonna get this area, I think. So you see I've left a gap between these two pieces. That's so I can get a nice thick bead of silicone down there, through there, seal that up. My back flashing to stop anything go through there. Chase flashing, anything. Let me know your thoughts. I don't know. There's nothing that shows this detail right here, so I'm just making it up as we go. Okay, while Mikey's gonna start smacking out some cavity battens. Woof, woof, woof. I'm gonna start working on these little details here. I'm gonna get these flashed up nicely. Yeah, it is a little bit funny again. I'm probably just gonna jump down on the ladder and then just start figuring it out as we go. Got another funny detail here. What I'm gonna do is I've got these little orange corners. So I'm going to stick in right here, a little bit backwards, but give some protection to the corner there. Internally, I literally just trimmed this piece right here so I can fold it out and it sits flat, just like that. Pretty much just like a standard window corner now. I just added those orange corners in just for extra protection. So with details like this, you always just got to think about which way the water is going. So it always starts at the top and works its way down, obviously. So in order for us to put our flashings on the right way, we need to start at the bottom and work our way up and lap everything over the top of one another. Sort of made it around into one of these funny corners where the building meets the new building meets the existing. We've got this such a weird angle. We've got this door right here. This is actually the easier one of the two. What we've got to do is we've got to get the paper in and try and wrap it around over here. get all our nails out, and I also want to try and tuck it in underneath this cladding. Try and get it in underneath there. You can see there's no head flashing or anything like that, so as soon as the house gets washed there's going to be water, but should be alright. And then I'm able to put my, once I've tidied up this paper through here, I can put my Safite board on. So
I can hold on to you very much longer.
hey baby, what?
Can't you sit still for a little bit? Can't you sit still for a little bit? Can't you sit still for a little bit?
This feet's out of, this part here is out a little whack hard. Not much we can do about that, honestly.
Cover mine here?
Yeah. We have to try and get into the joint now.
Okay, I can get in. Yep, I'm in.
You're in?
Keep going.
Okay, hold on, I gotta...
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, hold on. Hey, I'm in.
Sweet. Okay. I'm gonna try
Here we
to shim. Bro, look at that. Woo.
Don't at me, man.
Too easy for the walking.
Alrighty, to tidy, so you can see the mission here that we've had to do. This piece of feet is on an odd angle. Checked around over here. This is the only point that we had to do a little bit of a cheek out in, because we needed to slide the sheet into this groove, in underneath the existing cladding line, get it into that section, and then we needed to push it back this way in order for us to get into this jointer. So my only little spot there is this little gap, which will get filled with no more gaps because it didn't quite get into the groove of the fascia just because of that jointer. But we got all three sides, which is mean, and we sort of got it tight through here. First bob too. Anyway, I figure out get my battens on and get this corner sorted. Again, because I'm not going to be able to fix batten right in this very corner here, I've sort of done this weird little system where I've screwed two battens together through the edge, and then I'm just going to stick it in like this. Then I'm literally just going to fix through this one, save me pulling the whole door out and everything like that, and that should do the trick, hopefully. Alright, we're back on site this morning and we're starting it off by cutting a bunch of nogs, or Fabian is, to create fixings for our plywood ceiling in our alfresco area. Now while he's doing that, I'm going to focus on getting this chase flashing in this real awkward corner right here. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to grind a chase all the way down this line through here. Then I'm going to clean it out and I'm going to install this Dynaflash, which is a flexible flashing system which can be bent and manipulated in sort of any which way you want it. Now the reason I've chosen that is because in a situation like this I don't have much room to work with, and I don't want to use a rigid one. Normally I'd use like a stainless or something like that. In this situation this is going to be my best option, so I can a little bit more flexibility and movement in and around this area when I go to put the paper in. So that is my task for the morning, and this is where Fabian's working. So we've got a nog lines at 600 centers through here, and we can't run a batten on the bottom because then our Safite lining will sit down below the bottom of our decorative truss over there. So we're nogging it out, getting things ready to rock and roll for that. Let's go. Monday morning and we're at the beach house renovation. Beach house renovation. I'm going for about a 15 to 20 mil deep by about 5 mil wide, so when I slide my flashing in, there's enough silicone in there to adhere to the flashing and the brick itself. This spot here is a little bit more tricky. Can't get my grinder down in there, so I'm going to try several techniques. One being this drill. I'm going to just try and drill down. It's a little bit big, a 10 mil drill bit, or else I might just use my chisel and see what happens. A few different ways to do it. My concern is if I'm using this hammer drill, it's going to shake the brick out of position and I'm going to cause more issues than what's required. So I'm just going slow. So that worked pretty well. Let's keep doing the same thing. So the next task, now that's all cleaned out, is to pump it full with a flexible joint sealant all the way in there. Goal here is to really load it up, boys. See, eh? That, boys. Should just feel it suck in. It's can work on the paper. Comes the hard part. Try and get it through. I'm going to come through. I'm going to cut on the also better take some photos of this chase flashing. Sweet, so there's my chase flashing. What I'm going to do is I'm actually probably going to try to put a couple of wedges in here just to hold that in place for a minute. Just while the silicone goes off, and then should be good to go. Cool. So now we've got this corner all sorted, I can look at putting the feet in. Now the overall length is slightly bigger than 2.4, like by 100 mil. I don't really feel like putting a dicky little piece right at the end there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece in, split the difference right in the middle, put one piece in, and then I can slide my next one down into the jointer and get that all nice and tidy and just about ready for cavity, which is really awesome. It's almost like the final wall that we need to do for cavity. From memory, this is 2.6. 2.6. So I go 1300. I'm measuring a sheet up against I always like to put the jointer in before I measure the sheet, and then I just add 4 mil, just so I know it's bang on accurate, you know. I hope it was recording, because I just got that in all by myself. Well done. Hey, look at that, clean. Yeah, we'll leave this section for now and move over to another spot where I need to do some feet linings. Reason being is I'm still waiting for that chase flashing to set. Dave's got one side done. We'll just do all those on the droppy, I reckon. Yeah, if we figure out the right way of doing it. Yeah. I'll mark out this next side anyway, what do you reckon? And then knock it out and then get all those middles once it's, so we're not stretching up, we'll put those. Yeah. So I'm going to move myself over to this section right here. I need to get some feet board up underneath here and around all our BS51 bracket. What I want to do first is I want to make sure that they're nice and straight, which I've got my string line set up. I'm just going to go through, and some of them might need a little bit of a tap backwards and forwards. The reason I'm doing this now is so I can get a really nice check out around the bracket. Alright, now you can see I've just temporarily put this feet lining in place, offset on my brackets, and I put it up with these, held it up with these little bits of timber just to get it right in place. The reason I'm doing this is I want to make sure I get all my cuts perfectly bang on the first time. So I'm pretty much just going to scribe exactly where each one of these are, just by putting my square on and putting a little mark on either side. So I'm still trying to almost figure out the best way to cut all these little slots into the feet. What I've done is I've marked it all out. Once I marked it out, I run my blade along each edge of my checkout line, and now I'm going to put these little points right at the very edge, about 3mm in. The reason I'm doing that is so I can use a drill to drill holes on each side. Then I'm going to use the grinder to check the rest out, and I think that might be the best way to do it. But we will soon find out, won't we? That little dot there is really just to guide the tip of the drill bit. So you would have noticed that I had the timber hard under when I'm drilling, and now I've moved it away for the grinder. I try and attempt this myself? Probably not. I'll give it a go though. Sweet. Oh, we're recording. Look at this. Oh, we've been showing all the little nitty gritty bits and pieces of a cavity wrap, not really any of the actual cavity itself, which is kind of cool, I guess. All our little details that we've been trying to sort out, all our funny angles and stuff like that. But come to another, what I would call, issue to resolve, and this is one right here. So we've got our sill support bar, or our wands bar, that gets screwed to the front face of this concrete right here, like this, and it supports the big door that goes in here, the sill of it, so we can keep it nice and straight. So my only issue with this is we've already got a 45mm rebate down, and that's so we can get level entry. If you guys can see this, they give us about 5 or 6mm play in order for us to get our doors nice and level entry, just like that. So if you could see, if we stick this underneath here, that drops our sill support down so far that you're going to be able to see this, and it's going to look really ugly if you're standing back there. So there is another thing that we can use, which is a sill support bar that sits inside the rebate like this, and if you have a look, it sort of hides, you can't really see the bottom of it, you just see a small piece like that. So we're going to opt for this option in this case. The only thing is we need to cut the concrete out to get this rebated in further in order for us to get our door track to sit flush with the finished floor level. Now we're actually going to go 3mm lower than the finished floor level. The reason being this is going to get ground and polished, so we need to leave at least 3mm. So that's just one of these little technical details that weren't really thought of. We just went with what was going on the plans, and then this is the case. So yeah, boys are going to be smashing it, putting on corner flashings, figuring this out and having a big clean up, and we'll be getting ready for our inspection it's on Monday. So
Wow, look how nice this place is.
yeah. I wouldn't normally recommend pulling all the braces off until the cladding's on, but in this situation, we've got 2 fixed points there. We've got strap braced up, steel framing in, and we tied into the roof over here. It's just one big piece at the moment, so yeah, we should be working pretty good. And the roof's on.
Roof's on.
Roof shot.
I be getting sick of running laps on Sisyphus's treadmill. Man, I really need to sit still. Seems like that ain't something I can instill.
Ebb and flow, I can't hold on to you very much longer.
sit still for a little bit? Can't you sit still for a little? Can't you sit still for a little bit? Can't you sit still? Teacher told me need to get that pencil up out of my nose. Can't hold on a singular pose. Switch from to to fro when the wind gon' blow. And it's hurricane season everywhere that I roam. I like quick fixes and not working at all. Don't switch lanes, drive my car straight off of the road. I got split personalities inside of my soul.
Woo! Look at that.
Oh.
We got them in, but there's been a little bit of a stuff up. So what's happened is we've got the wrong track system on this door. You can see that the distance between the track and our rebate is quite a lot larger than this one over here. Now this is what we were aiming for, and these are the two different profiles that we've actually got. Now I did request this one to go on this door, but I don't know what happened. I've been dealing with 2 or 3 different people from the company, and it just got muddled up in communication. Now I've actually signed the quote saying that I'm happy. Well, I was happy with what they had made allowances for, but not picking up on the different style, which is this one here. This is the one that we've got, which is made for a 90mm wall. But hopefully the boys can do work their magic and get a new door frame and track that suits this rebate, but we'll see how it goes. Now I've just got the laser set up to get the heights of my doors all nice and set up, so we can get our head flashings in, and I'm just using that as a guide. I've actually set it up half on the jamb here, and then you can also see it just slightly hit the aluminium too. That way I know that I can get this nice and level all the way through. Level this way and level this way. Level both ways. And we're not allowed to use any packers in this situation up the top, so these jolt head screws work a charm when you're trying to adjust things backwards and forwards. Bro, you guys are sucker-luckers, bro. What? You guys are sucker-luckers. Alright, I'm just explaining to the camera how you guys have been stuffing me around all day.
I've been trying to stay away from you the whole day.
Well, I know, I can feel the vibe.
Can I put calculator at the bottom?
Well, nah. Far out. Nah, just leave that for now. Alright, well I'm going to wrap the video up here anyway. We got our joinery in, we passed our cavity wrap inspection. Things the council inspector looks out for is our PVC corner flashings. We've got to make sure in a situation like this where a beam meets our wall line, we've got a corner flashing up in here, and then we also need one that runs all the way down, which allows the water to flow on the outside of the cavity down to the bottom of the wall. And then of course our ventilated, castellated cavity bedding. We didn't really talk too much about this. We're doing all the nitty gritty bits on this one, which is kind of cool, but pretty much if you've got vertical cladding, you need a horizontal bedding, which means you need castellations in the bedding, castellations, which you can see here, and that allows water to come down and flow all the way through the cavity instead of getting stuck in there. You can see the top of the cavity bedding is on an angle as well, 15 degree. Most of all our flashing systems and stuff like that are all done on a 15-degree angle, and that's just what our code requires. Head flashings are in place with the tape over the top of it. Everything's ready to rock and roll. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We played around with all our little bits, didn't get pulled up on too much. The one thing we did get pulled up on was this piece right here. Now the inspector wanted us to have our building wrap wrap around behind the brickwork and then on top of the existing building paper. But I told him this is all existing, like we're doing a renovation. How are we meant to do that? We have to pull the brick out and do all that, you know. This system here is exactly what it was like when it was existing. We just put the cavity on and we did a proper paper system. Actually, there was no paper behind there in the first place. So any water that ever gets in behind here can run down, pass over the top of the brick and get out. So there's no way that the water's going to get in, but he was just worried about a barrier between the timber and the brick, which is funny. But yeah, Still trying to figure this detail out up here. We're getting there slowly. Want to make it look nice and tidy, and it just looks complete. But anyway, catch you on the next one. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're going to be smacking out cladding. You can see it's over here. We've got a KLC 60 vertical shiplap weatherboard that's going to be cranking out, and we're going to be doing some cool little details and around the place. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this one. Peace.